So in MongoDB, when we do replication, the replication is asynchronous, which is not that unusual actually in databases. Like if you had a MySQL database, and this is your master, and you replicate data to a slave or secondary, we actually use the term primary in MongoDB. So this is our slave database, this is our master. It's common that this replication be asynchronous, which means I have some client here. Client does a write to this database. The write's committed here, and it's going to take some time to get over the network over to here and get processed and committed over here, right? So in fact, I can get an acknowledgement back here before the replication actually has occurred. And I think, like in a lot of databases, there may be options to do asynchronous or synchronous replication. If you do synchronous replication in the database, there would be some sort of probably like a two-phase commit here with some communication back and forth before this acknowledgement happens. So generally, if you're doing synchronous replication, machines tend to be side by side on a very low latency network connecting them. Thus, I think the common case is to do asynchronous replication, which can work over a more commodity type LAN or WAN environment. And in fact, on wide area networks, you have to do asynchronous because this latency, if you will, just of the communication would be too high. You know, if we want to do replication from continent to continent, you know, we're order of magnitude, you know, 100 milliseconds here just for a round trip of one communication cycle. So things are going to be very slow if we don't do asynchronous, which we do. So that is kind of why MongoDB does asynchronous. It's designed to work on commodity servers, commodity networks. It's designed to replicate over both the LAN and the WAN, the wide area network. So you can do all of those things. So this picture is really just a generic database replication picture. We'll get into the more Mongo specific in a second. The other thing that's true in MongoDB is that there is a single primary at a given point in time, right? So you could have multiple slaves or secondaries, but at a given point in time, there's one primary. So this is not master-master replication. When you do master-master, which some products do, but it's not very traditional with databases, but some of the newer things do, you're getting more into a true kind of eventual consistency model of consistency. So, and there are use cases we want to handle in MongoDB which require stronger consistency than that require atomic operations, things like new user registration, for example. There is some functionality, though, designed to kind of solve some similar problems without doing master-master in MongoDB, which is the kind of tag-aware sharding, which we'll talk about in the sharding section, which is not master-master, but it lets you home data at a specific location and have different homes for different data. So we'll talk about that when we talk about sharding in a future week.